What's up, you guys? This is Rob from Guy Plays, and today on #confirmed, we're going to be digging into Devstream 116 to take a look at some of the features that will be launching with Fortuna. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you, there wasn't really much on the plate that they touched on. A lot of it was a little bit of showing off gameplay, showing off different things that you could do in Fortuna, so it's not going to be so in-depth. However, we did get a couple good pieces that I am very, very excited about. So first and foremost, let's jump into where things all began, was the operators. So they actually went ahead and showed off several different hairstyles that were on the operators that they are currently working on. They did make note that they are kind of holding off on it a little bit longer because they wanted to add in secondary tones, and they wanted to basically make the hair look a little bit more complex, a little bit prettier. Now, the styles that we did see, however, I felt were a bit feminine. Some people would disagree with me because they were channeling a little bit of Aloy feelings, a little bit of the braids, a little bit of the testicle buns in the back. We got it. It looks cute, but I'm kind of like hoping for some more masculine, kind of like PC choppy, like maybe over the face styles, kind of like shorter on the sides, you know, all of that. They didn't preview anything that looked remotely like that on the stream. However, they did say that there were other looks that we're going to be launching with this. These ones that they've got currently on display, they are hoping to ship by December. So hopefully we see that a little bit sooner than later. Now, to kind of go along with all of that is the fact that we are going to have operator A, B, and C loadout slots for our outfits. And this one just brings me so much joy. Very, very happy about this because here's the thing. I have like a specific look that I have for my operator that I absolutely love, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to switch it up every now and then. However, it is a little bit of a pain to kind of keep track of each individual look. Like, I've got that one down. I don't want to fuck with these other ones over here. So, I wanted to go ahead and be able to have these kind of different individual slots that don't interfere with my main look, you know? So I'm really, really excited. It's been a long time coming, and I can't wait until they implement it. I'm assuming that they're probably going to roll it all out together with the hairstyles, because it's a nice little bundle. Now, speaking of a bundle that I think looks really, really freaking cool is, of course, the Equinox Deluxe skin concept. Now, they've been throwing out a lot of skin concepts as of late, and I have to say, this one looks pretty freaking badass. It's really, really complex, and from my understanding, they are actually going in to kind of polish it up a little bit more, but I guess the way that they were going with this was kind of like half samurai angel, half ninja demon, which I think is kind of cool. And it looks like, I'm gonna be honest, this is one thing that they didn't really mention was like a theme, but it looks very plant-based. I don't know if you guys are getting that like at all, but I'm looking at like the ninja demon one, and it looks like it's got roses coming up its front, and then I'm looking at the like samurai angel one, and it looks like it's got some petals coming out off of the shoulder. I don't know if anybody else is catching that vibe, but I'm definitely getting a little bit of that feeling from it too. Now, this is one of those ones, and it's kind of like the same one that I was talking about with Liger Zanuka. I don't know how it's going to translate into the actual in-game, but you know what? The Warframe art team, like the modelers, just everybody on that whole visual aspect has been killing it. We saw Chroma Prime. They did an amazing job with that. Like, they really transformed him from a testicle to a dragon prince, and I'm kind of into it. And when they came out with Neja Deluxe, I was really worried to see how it was translated from Liger's illustration into the actual in-game model, but they killed that as well. So part of me is like, listen, Warframe, like, whatever Warframe does with their mechanics, whatever they, you know, fail at when it comes to, like, helping out with veteran rewards and all of that kind of stuff, they will always kill when it comes to their art. So very, very happy. I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. Now, the next thing that I did want to touch on too, this is a little bit out of order, but I figured that we might as well touch on this while we're talking about the art set, is they showed off the new Jupiter, kind of like a remaster. So every single time they do like an environmental remaster, it's always really, really pretty. It's always really gorgeous. They wanted to go ahead and make some changes in order to kind of like embrace parkour 2.0, which, you know, is a long time coming. It's a long time coming, but they did go ahead and do that. They've opened up the spaces a little bit, and just the lighting and the texturing in the place, I feel like is a lot more polished. I love the feel of it. So another big thumbs up to the environment kids out there, as well as, you know, the modelers and everybody who's doing a great job. Now, speaking of kids, didn't know that was going to transition into it, but we did get our first look at the Vent Kids faction in Orb Vallis. And when I say our first look, I mean like literally we went into their little hideout, which was extremely fun and like, okay, I'll be real, I felt kind of old looking at it. I was like, oh, this is like young and this is like fun, and the fact that I had the words young and fun and oh, it's so bright and poppy colored, like in my head I'm like, wow, you sound like you're about 100 years old, which is fairly accurate. I've aged well, you know what I mean? But I'm getting kind of rickety in my old age. But yeah, they showed some posters up on the walls that they said that that would be available as some of the K-Drive kind of embellishments and decorations, which would be really, really cool and kind of does embrace the whole theme. It's very fun. It's very like 80s, and I'm kind of into it in that way. But they did go ahead and let us know that we were going to have some K-Drive races available in the game. So it's not just like, oh, you're gonna grind around aimlessly. No, they're actually going to have what sounds like daily K-Drive races. So what happens is they mentioned that they would have 20 races at launch, but they would be on rotation, so you wouldn't get the same one every day, at least from my current understanding. I'll leave a comment down below if they do have any more clarification on exactly how it works, but it does seem like we're going to have that little bit of an activity, and there was a lot of them going through kind of like the race. And the cool thing about it is you actually had a little UI on the corner that was showing all of the points that you were accumulating, which I'm assuming, because of the fact that the Vent Kids are a faction, that those points are actually going to go towards your daily standing. It's a really fun, unique way to grind out standing with a faction, and that's just not something that we've ever seen before, so definitely big ups on that. However, a part of me is also saying like, this is fun, this is cool, but I want to get back to the gameplay. I want some content that is like made for the people who've dedicated the time and energy into getting to the top tier of this game. Like, yes, I could do kickflips, and yes, I'll be able to grind, and that's fantastic, but where the big boys at, right? That's what I want. But as they were going through Orb Vallis and doing all of these tricks and doing all of these races, they actually showed off the fact that you could explore many of the buildings that were there. Now, in, what is it called? In Plains of Eidolon, there were, you know, some little bases here and there and some caves that you could go into. However, what they actually had on the Orb Vallis were these big structures, and they were all structures that you could go into, that they had like fully fleshed out things. Very, very interesting thing that they actually noted. There were some strange things that they saw in there. Number one, there were animals kind of like in cages, which, well, not cages, but like cells. I don't even know, like glass cages. Don't know what to call those. There were like dissected, I want to say human beings. They looked like people that were maybe from Fortuna, part of like the Solaris something something group or whatever. Maybe they were Corpus. I don't know. It was really freaky, but it was like a head and like some weird fucked up, it was bad. And then they also had some big button that like powered this massive engine. And so what I'm kind of seeing here is they're incorporating some of the lore, like they called it like environmental lore, that almost kind of tells a little bit of the story. I hope that they lean in a little bit heavier into that and kind of explain some of those things, because like I had stated earlier, I've been playing a lot of Destiny, and the lore that they have in game is very potent. It's very strong. It seeps into your bones. And I've been feeling that Warframe lore has definitely been lacking and really doesn't have any kind of draws. However, seeing a little chopped up person and seeing that big button, like, I'm curious to see what the fuck is going on. I just hope that it's gonna be enough to really, like, get its claws into me. Because you guys know I like the Corpus. The Corpus is, like, my favorite faction. Anyway. So that's kind of what's been going on with a majority of the stream. They were showing off a lot of that. They also, one of the big things, so I'm going to touch on two big things that they had, were Melee 3.0 weapon swapping. So the thing about Melee 3.0 is they haven't showed off a lot of it, and I'm very curious to see what they're doing with it. But what they did touch on is they said that something kind of set them back just a little bit before they could show off anything else, and they had much smoother weapon swapping. It didn't really look as much like weapon swapping as just like weapons teleporting into your hands, but basically what it is now your quick melee will actually just equip your melee for you. So it's not just gonna like, oh, you quick melee and then, you know, you just put your melee away. It's you quick melee and your melee is still out. They also showed off kind of like the process of how everything was working, where you'd have your quick melee and then you'd be able to shoot your pistol, go back into your quick melee, all into like one bullet jump. So the weapon swapping is going to be a lot faster, and it applies to your secondary, your primary, and then your melee. So all of your weapons can be swapped out very, very quickly, and they wanted to do that for kind of like smoother combat purposes. I definitely see that, and that looked... I don't know, it seemed like weapon teleporting. It didn't really seem like weapon swapping, but maybe that's just because she had a big cape on and we couldn't see all of the deets. But I think it's a good feature, so I can't wait to see how that all plays out, but I do want to see more of Melee 3.0. The other bit that they actually showed that I thought was a nice chunky piece of content was the new spider, the big fucking spider bot. So one of the things that I've faulted Warframe for a lot recently. I've been playing Monster Hunter World, been playing Destiny 2, I've been playing games that rely heavily on challenging enemies. And right now there's not really anything all that challenging in game, if I'm just gonna be blunt with you. Like, people can solo Eidolons. Like, that's... it takes some skill to solo an Eidolon, but at the same time, if you can solo an Eidolon, I don't really know if that Eidolon's all that challenging. So the Profit Taker spider, as they showed, is like, it's generating this impenetrable storm. So think Zephyr's Turbulence. You won't actually be able to engage it from far away. You actually have to get up close and personal. I'm not sure if they meant up close and personal to fight it or to disable the storm shields. Not sure what the event is going to be like, but what we gonna do, right? They also make tornadoes, so it's literally like Zephyr, but in a spider form, which I was actually praying that like Rebecca got caught in one of the tornadoes. I wanted to see if it like literally sucked you up in the air and like flinged you around, or if it just dealt damage to you. If it sucks you up in the air, I'm kind of into it. But yeah. So that is really what I'm waiting for to see in Venus, because legitimately, K-drives are fun. They also touched on like hunting animals, and well, not hunting animals, but like trying to capture animals to preserve them, and you know, walking around looking for tracks, finding poop. That's not really the gameplay that I signed up for in a Space Ninjas game, but you know, that could totally be somebody else's jam. A lot of people in chat were very invested in the fact that, you know, she was looking for this animal. However, I came here to shoot shit and to slice things up. And K-drives are nice, but I am not shooting shit or slicing things up. And, you know, preserving these animals are not, you know, shooting shit or slicing things up. So for me, I don't know. Unless it's me looking good while I'm shooting things and slicing things up, or it's me actually shooting things and slicing things up, I don't know. So what I'm seeing from Venus so far is a lot of extracurricular activities that I'm not as interested in. What I really want to see from the next few dev streams, or what I'm hoping that DE kind of shows off more, is I want to see Melee 3.0. Give us more on that. I want to see some, top tier mechanics. Like, for the people who have spent the time grinding out the focus, what's next in progression? That's what I want to see. Like, great, we get Chroma Prime, that's cool, we're gonna level that up, we're gonna get our Rubico Prime and our Grand Prime, that's all fantastic, we're gonna level that up, we're gonna forma it up, and then, like, I hope these spiders are good! That's all I'm gonna say. Regardless, let me know how you feel about all of this in the comments below. Are you guys really, really excited over Equinox, the Equinox Deluxe skin? I know it's probably gonna be a long ways away because this is kind of like their first mock-up for the Equinox Deluxe. We also have like a bunch of other deluxes on the way too, so I'm kind of curious to see exactly what we're gonna see about that. Are y'all jazzed about the hairstyles for the operators? And the one thing that I want to pose for you guys, at least for me, I've seen a lot of like Venus fluff. Are you guys curious to see what's next? Cause I want to see what else DE got up their sleeves. I know Railjack is gonna come out at some point, but we know that it's not launching with Venus. So part of me is like, all right, y'all are holding back something, right? Y'all are holding back just a little something. I'm crossing my fingers. Regardless, that about does it for me for now. Toss all of your feelings down in the comments below, and as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.